Ellen introduced me as someone who'd done a lot of photography for Dr. Jensen. Actually, he was the person who I came to right out of college, and he was like he was like in a stream of awareness of someone that I had to meet for the development of my life. It was like, sometimes I see, like Ellen has taken up the iridology part of Dr. Jensen's work. And I felt like I'm a person of destiny. I was born on a reason. If I didn't do what it was that propelled me toward my life to help humanity, I wouldn't be alive today. It's like I have an incredible willpower. And I was a photographer for the doctor, and in my orientation to life, I plant dreams. That's what I do. And I wanted to acknowledge, first I wanted to show you a couple things. This was actually the picture of you, Ellen, when you first came. See, this is a picture of Ellen right here with the doctor when she came. And here's a picture of John Miles about 30 years ago. And here's the doctor. And he always used to write little notes like 2 of this, 2 of that, you know, and when I first came, and here was later on Ellen, after she started tell again the name of the organization.
The ICA, International Iridology Practitioners Association. Yeah. That's when I first was formulating ICA.
Yeah. And also, when I first came to the ranch, Art was, one of my first projects was the chlorophyll book, and me and Art used to fight about that. You know, he said, "When's it going to be done? You know, when's, you know, get this done?" And he took that book, and then we had to redo it and this and that. But I was actually, when I first came to the ranch, here's a picture of a man who used to do the goats. His name was Bill Estes, who used to have the most beautiful healing hands. And that experience at the ranch transformed my life. It was like I was there right out of college. Let me just pass some of those around. But I got a chance to help Dr. Jensen, and I want to suggest some of these books, you know, that Art still has available. Like this was the chlorophyll book that I helped Dr. Jensen write from his words, and I'm down in here as editor. But as we move on, I'm kind of claiming this book as the authorship for this, and also the Survive the Stay. These were part of the Magic Survival Kit. Really wonderful books that I wrote from the doctor's words. And this was a famous picture that he loved, that he's used many times. This is Dr. Jensen with the little goat. You know, that one is powerful. But you know, the other day I was watching a film about Steve Jobs, you know, and I was thinking how he had influenced humanity in such a way with the computer. And I wanted to give you all a blessing today that this journey that you took here today, that we're at such a pivotal point in the evolution of humanity. And all the teachings that Dr. Jensen gave, that Ellen has transferred this week, I want to, with the crisis of our food, let us look to the inspiration of Dr. Jensen. This was a picture on a book that I'm working on and off. This is when he was in his last year or so. This was after he was crippled and paralyzed and could not walk. You know, he had the car accident, and then he had the cancer, and he was standing up at the top of the hill in one of his final years. You know, he overcame that. This was a guy who stuttered when he was a young man, and yet at this very hotel, at his 80th birthday celebration, his 80th or 85, it's like there were people there from 80th, from like more than 40 countries of the world came to hear that man speak. A man who started having problems with his own father, you know, who was very rough on him. And this was a man, a servant of humanity, that we're walking in the footsteps. And everything he taught. I remember the day that I walked at the ranch in the beginning and heard about iridology, and I'm graduating journalism, and I said, well, now how are we ever going to get people to believe that there's a way to see inside the organs of the body without cutting it open? And so we're at a pivotal point now where we have such a food emergency, and you are all so deeply needed. And the work of Ellen and Art, it's just profound. You know, like these were, on the first time that I rode with him in a car, he told me, following the footsteps of Alfred McCann. This was like a muckraker. This was like a guy that was looking out for the kids and was concerned about food processing. These were some of the ideas, you know, and I actually went to Portland and got this old copy of this book that's so instrumental in my work now, you know, The Science of Eating. And he said, Leslie, I want you to follow in the footsteps and be a muckraker. I want you to go after these people and don't let them get away with anything, you know? And I'm going to tell you...
And that's what you've done.
Yeah, and I'm at a point right now where I wanted to come today and plant the seed with you, literally, of ancient wheat. You know, he always said that we're eating too much wheat, but you know, they have so genetically modified the wheat that we're in such a crisis that each of you, I just want to empower you with this. And I got a chance to help him with that book. I actually helped him with the chemistry of man. And I want to recommend, because I know Art has this book, this is one of the most important books, and that CD that Art has called The Chemistry of Man, where the doctor is talking for an hour about this work, and I know, Ellen, you must have talked about this a lot, but the way he could look in the iris, the way he could see an organ and then match it with the foods that were needed. And of course, that came from the work of V.G. Rosin. And that's in this classic work. And so this is a book that you all need to get and study. And I'm just going to end this by planting a seed. But Ellen, would you honor me? Read just a little bit. And you could see how the doctor and V.G. Rosin was onto something. Read a couple of those sentences there about the neurogenic type. You know, these were, when we wrote this, we left out the first introduction from Rosin. It was about how these are all the soul types, of 20 soul types that dictated a person's life, energy, and what they were meant to do. And then he matched it with the iris map, and he gave them the food so that a person could fulfill their voice and speak their soul purpose, okay? But if you just look at this, read that a little bit of this, and you could see how this is me, 100%. Just read that, and then just read a little bit of that out loud.
I will. The body size of man depends upon his temperament and constitution. That is, as to whether bones, muscles, the vital system, or the nervous system is in the lead in activity and growth. When the life force lives and is active, more particularly in the nervous system, the man or woman does not grow large, but remains short in stature and small in build, because the nervous system is the smallest part of the human constitution. This is why some people are naturally small, slender, and petite. They belong to the mental or nervous types of people. The neurogenic type is highly conscious, so much so that he is constantly noticing things around him until his brain is in a sort of a whirl. His attention is caught by everything he sees and by everything he hears. He wears himself out completely each day and must have sufficient rest and sleep in order to get his supply of nerve energy for the day. He has no bank account of nerve force, but lives up to each day's supply, unprepared for any emergency caused by shock, sickness, or extra work. He needs much sleep because his nerves are so active when he is awake on account of phosphorus acting on them. So these people need a lot of certain foods, like minerals and potassium and B vitamins.
And he, you know, that if you look at that on that page, okay, it's time to go, Art says. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these, ancient seeds here. This is called kamut. This is 3,000-year-old wheat. This is not the kind of stuff that they're serving and that you're healing. Sweetie, take one of these seeds out, and afterwards, and you say in your work there. Okay, so we're going to say a blessing on your future that you make the most out of this. You all have to be 10 times. And you have to tell 10 new people to come to this class next year for Art Jensen. And you are the emissaries. You have to go out and spread this word. Because the word needs, if Steve Jobs was doing something important, iridology is 10 times more important than what Steve Jobs made a generation of computer people. You hear what I'm saying? So let us plant this tree for Ellen and Art and make sure that Art ends up a rich man from what you do in the next year to get everybody in this class next year. Does that make sense?
I would like to bless all of you, and we are planting seeds for your future and your certification in iridology and all that you're going to go and do in helping others and planting more seeds throughout the world. Bless you. Thank you.
Plant those seeds right in this soil, sweetheart. Plant them in this organic soil. Okay? Good. Okay, we love you. We love you.